Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday, June 27th. And I mention the dates always because as a coach, as a mentor, as a friend, I always got to push you guys. Keep firing that fire underneath you because, good morning, because this is why you join a team. This is why we meet up when we do. In the past, live sessions, live in person review courses were very, very popular, and they still are because sometimes you need to get out of your home, you need to get out of your living room, your computer space, and go physically to courses, right? The only, and I've been to many, and I know many very well, and I advise some people to do so. If your basic science isn't strong, if you have life jumping in and you need to get away from certain situations because you're getting distracted a lot, right? But you have to also remember when you do go to these live sessions, which I advise that if you need to, you should. These live in person, like past program is great. Dr. Francis, great friend of mine. The only problem is that when you have 100, 200, 300 students in one room, I mean, there's no way one physician, one presenter can tailor or cater to everyone, right? It's a universal approach. I teach, you listen, you absorb, hopefully you get it. So whether you go in person or whether you need like for example online med ed, and I bring up these resources just because I want all of you here now and all of you watching this later when you're watching the recording to understand what is out there. Because one of my biggest pet peeves is when I or my students say, I wish I knew. If I only knew. So I'm always about learning as much as possible in anything that I do because I want to know what's out there. So if you have any questions, please ask. You can ask now. You could ask on the online community where we always answer. You could email me, whatever you like, because the more you know, the more you'll be able to utilize these resources for your advantage. For example, online med ed, there's always free samples online, trials and everything. It's just a big whiteboard, and the physician writes everything, draws everything out. So it's a really good pace. Boards and Beyond, love it. Problem with Boards and Beyond is that it's too fast. So if you want to slow down, that might not be for you, right? Versus others, hey, listen, I know my stuff. I just want to watch the PowerPoint presentation, PowerPoint slides. He does a phenomenal job going through everything. It's a faster pace that some people are just uncomfortable with, right? So that's something to keep in mind because you can go to many forums like Reddit, beautiful, beautiful forums. I mean, I go on it all the time to check for certain things in my life that I need to ask questions about. But you always have to remember who's writing it and what works for them and not work for you, right? So that's why today, I have a bunch of questions that you guys send to me via email, messaging, instant messenger, whatever communications you have with me. So I will answer some of these questions as best as I can. And I hope it resonates with most of you because these are very, very common questions that range from step one to NBME, from anxiety to panic, from timing, endurance, and beyond. Now, one thing, and I always have to remind myself that even though I do mention this a lot, my mentor, and we all have a coach, we all have someone we look up to. He always reminds me because he's really, really successful in his industry. He goes, always remember and remind yourself that whoever you talk to, because they heard you 2 days ago, maybe somebody heard you yesterday, maybe somebody new jumped on today that does not know about this. So I want to bring this up to all of you now. The exam, NBMEs and the USMLEs do provide accommodations. So some people need accommodations, whether you're diabetic, whether you are pregnant, whether you have some sort of some issue going on, right? Sometimes people have ADHD and beyond. So So if you have something that is preventing you from performing at your peak level, and you can get documentation from a physician or physicians, you should go to the USMLE website and look into what you need to provide, because I know many of my students need certain accommodations. Especially, I have two students now who are pregnant and they're taking their exam in the near future. So they filled out the proper information because they need more breaks. I just wanted to bring that up to your attention because sometimes you're not aware of that. And if you really need extra time or extra breaks and or both, with the proper documentation from your physicians, you can get anything and everything that they can provide for you, right? So just that's a heads up. Keep that in mind, because sometimes people do very well when they're home, and people do very well when it's not timed. But when it's timed, it's stressful, and that's because I have some students are dyslexic. So and that's just an example, right? Okay, good. So I just want to bring that up. Okay, so I have a few questions I want to just answer, and then I have if you did attend yesterday's session, which felt like last week, but it was only yesterday morning, I did review some pharm. I would suggest to continue doing those pharm sets of questions that I put on yesterday morning. I have a few that I flagged, and I want to do a couple of them, because what I realize is this: pharm is not easy, but I'm here not to teach you all of medicine. That was medical school. Let's just be honest, right? Whether you're in medical school now or you were in medical school, I mean, things constantly evolve and you forget things. We all do. That's why you always have to keep reviewing. I'm here to get you points to pass the test. That's it. And at the same time, help you navigate through how to use resources like first aid or any resource that you're using, and also being efficient with time. Because right now it's a beautiful Friday morning here, 8 a.m. Central. I've been up since 4 o'clock. I work with certain physicians, internationally, and also universities and whatnot. So I wake up really early, and then by like 1, 2 o'clock, I'm done with what I have to do. And then I have my office hours and everything else. The point is that I get into a routine. So I know a lot of students, they have difficulty studying. And trust me, that's why when people tell me that they study 6+ months, I'm impressed. But at the same time, I'm concerned, because this exam can exhaust you. Yes, I agree, because I know people get exhausted, because I was exhausted myself. So unless you physically have other obligations, working, providing for a family, other things, rotations, or you just have to work to make money to pay for bills and everything else, you should spend no more than 3-4 months, 6 hours a day. But clearly, if you have things going on that prevent you from studying X amount of hours a day, then that's going to take a lot longer. But at the end of the day, if you do have the dedicated time, you shouldn't go more than a few months, because what happens is, A, you get tired, you get exhausted, you get frustrated, and it's very difficult to keep everything that you reviewed close to you and to be able to retain it, right? So that's all it is. It's a sliding scale. The longer you take, just think of it as the longer you take studying, everything you did on the first month of studying feels foreign to you, feels like it's been a long time ago. So I hope that with what we do on these sessions and all the recordings that we provide for you and all the videos that I keep having my team edit for you all in the QBank video library, that's going to help you stay motivated, disciplined. Because if I was you, I would literally do this. I'd have my QBank, Amboss, UWorld, whatever, have my first aid, and I would realize, where are my points? Dr. Stavros, hi, showing you where you attack every system. Yeah. So when you go over heart and lungs and kidney and neuro, you think, well, in heart, we did this. And in neuro, we did this. And I remember he chose all these questions specifically because they amplify and they highlight what you need to focus to pass the test. Majority of you and myself are guilty of choosing things we're not comfortable with and trying to learn it. Well, okay, but watching a 2-minute video might not really be beneficial for you because it's a concept. Like, for example, physiology. Renal phys is not a 2-minute thing, but knowing about nephritic, nephrotic, 10 minutes, because there's some conditions are nephritic, some are nephrotic. Figure out what causes nephritic, what causes nephrotic, what do you see in the urine, and so on. So If you have questions, please ask here where you typed good morning.